Slicing, or death by 1,000 cuts, is the cruelest form of capital punishment in ancient China, or perhaps in human history, the professor said. The victim, or the prisoner, is usually tied to a pole after being stripped naked, and then the executioner uses a sharp knife to slice off the prisoner's flesh, bit by bit, until the prisoner dies of bleeding. Sometimes, this process can last for days, resulting in great agony for the prisoner.
Only in Chinese legal history class can death by 1,000 cuts sound boring, thought Wang. Unfortunately, the professor droned on.
Death by 1,000 cuts, of course, is usually reserved for the most heinous of crimes, such as treason, and it was almost never used on the emperor's own family, except for that one time in the Ming Dynasty.
Wang looked up, as did several other students.
Ah, the professor smiled. Now I've got your attention. But I need to preface this by pointing out that many historians don't consider this to be actual history. Either way, during the reign of the Yongle Emperor, one of his concubines was caught fornicating, the professor paused, with 2 eunuchs that were serving her.
Damn, where did they get a boss to do that? Wang asked, and the entire class burst out laughing.
And needless to say, the professor rolled his eyes, it didn't end well for the throuple. Supposedly, their execution lasted for 5 days.
The class bell rang as soon as he finished the sentence and everyone got up to leave.
I expect a paper from you all on the legal basis for death by 1,000 cuts by this time next week, the professor yelled after the students.
When Wang left the teaching building, he felt cold, as evenings in December usually are. He quickly walked to the bus stop, hoping to catch the last bus home. Luckily, he didn't have to wait for long. When he got on the bus, he saw 4 passengers, and no woman, and 3 people sitting at the back of the bus. The 3 were sitting weirdly still, hands resting on their laps. One couldn't make out their faces due to the dim light in the bus, but it seemed that they were wearing silk robes, the finely knitted kinds that Wang often saw in historical dramas. And judging by their clothing and hairstyle, the one sitting in the middle was a woman and the other 2 were men. Well, this is a funny bunch,
Wang thought to himself. After paying for his ticket, Wang asked the bus conductor, "What's up with those 3 over there?" while nodding at the 3 strangely dressed passengers.
"Don't know," the conductor replied. "They got on in the Imperial Tomb. Someone must be shooting some kind of movie over there." Imperial Tomb? Huh. I always find it messed up as a name for a bus stop, the driver chimed in. Brings bad luck, you know.
Wang chuckled as he put on his headphones and started playing a rap song on his phone. He didn't really understand the lyrics, which were in English, but he liked the melody. As the song went on, Wang dozed off, until he felt someone pushing at him very violently.
"You thief, shameless! Give me back my purse!"
Wang opened his eyes and saw the old woman cursing at him, her face twisted with rage.
"What?"
Wang mumbled, while being dragged by the old woman from his seat.
"You stole my purse!"
the old woman yelled again.
"Kids today are so depraved. No morals at all."
"What's wrong with you?" Wang was getting more awake.
"Get off me, you old bat!"
However, she wouldn't let go, and dragged Wang towards the bus door.
"Stop the bus!"
she yelled at the driver.
"I'm taking this punk to the police."
"Are you dumb?" the driver yelled.
"We're in the middle of nowhere. Stop the bus or I'll grab the wheel and crash this damn thing,"
the old woman yelled again. The driver cursed and stopped the bus, and the old woman dragged Wang off as soon as the bus door opened. When the bus left, Wang shook off her grip. He was fully awake now and filled with rage.
"You old bat,"
Wang began to raise his hand.
"I just saved your life, kid,"
the old woman said coldly. Her rage completely disappeared.
"I would expect you to be more grateful."
"What?" Wang snarled.
"Those 3 at the back of the bus. Have you noticed how grayish pale they were?" the old woman replied.
"So?" Wang roared.
"Only dead people are grayish pale, kid," the old woman said.
This caught Wang by surprise, and the old woman continued.
"I knew something was off when they got on, and when they walked past me, my suspicion was confirmed. There were no legs under their robes."
Wang's rage subsided, trying very hard to process what the old woman just said.
"And?" he asked incredulously. "The conductor didn't notice?" "He was in a trance when they entered. Both him and the driver. Poor souls. They had been marked. I couldn't save them," the old woman said.
"Marked?" Wang was getting more confused.
Go buy some furniture made of peach trees, the old woman said, ignoring his question. The unclean don't like peach wood. Then she left, leaving Wang befuddled. Wang wanted to say something, but when he looked up, the old woman was already gone. Detective Wu didn't like to be waken up in the middle of the night. But again, that was what he signed up for when he joined the homicide department.
Yes?
He answered his phone. Remember the bus that went missing 2 days ago? We just found it. The person on the other side of the phone said.
Bus 375?
Wu asked.
Where?
The Cloud Valley, the person said.
Cloud Valley? Isn't that 100 kilometers away from the city? What is the bus doing there?
Wu asked. Beats me, the person said. Either way, the chief wants you there right away. The bus crashed.
What?
Wu was confused.
Shouldn't the traffic police handle this? I'm homicide.
Exactly, the person replied. 2 people are found dead. They're, murdered. In a very particular fashion. When Wu arrived, he was immediately hit by a wave of pungent smell. The smell was so strong that he could feel it running through his nostrils and getting stuck in his throat.
What the?
Wu thought.
Bodies shouldn't decompose this fast in winter.
As he was about to exit his car, someone opened the door for him. Detective Wu? Asked the young officer.
That's me,
Wu said. You might want to wear this, the officer said, while handing Wu a face mask.
Thank you.
Wu mumbled and put on the mask. He walked with the young officer to the bus, which was still attached to a tow truck. The front of the bus was completely destroyed, with some branches sticking out of the now shattered windshield. Blood could be seen all over the passenger windows, as if a madman had decided to splash a giant bucket of red paint everywhere inside the bus. We found the bus at the bottom of the valley, the young officer said. A local villager complained about the smell, he continued. Took us quite a while to get it up here.
Where are the bodies?
Wu asked. There, the officer said, while quickly pointing to 2 bodies covered with white sheets. Wu walked to the bodies and began to squat down, but was forced to stand back up due to the repugnant smell. Someone in a hazmat suit quickly came and removed the sheets for Wu, who wasn't quite prepared for what he was about to see. The bodies were completely naked and their skins were of a strange color mixed between gray and brown. They were seriously bloated, thanks to the gas produced by bacteria inside. Cuts and gashes of all sizes could be seen all over the bodies. Some wounds were so deep that despite the swollen flesh, one could see the bones.
Bloated cadaver, Wu murmured. They must have been dead for at least a week.
I know, right? The young officer said, eager to voice his opinion. Bodies in winter shouldn't decompose this fast.
Wu simply grunted. Then he asked, Who are these 2 anyway?
The driver and the conductor, the officer said.
And you know that how?
Wu asked. We checked the camera footage of the bus, the officer replied.
Really? Wu asked skeptically. You wouldn't happen to know who the killer was, would you?
Well, the officer forced a smile, seemingly embarrassed. The latest footage was from 60 hours ago. After that, the camera somehow stopped working. We couldn't find anything on the SD card with the camera's company's cloud, but we've checked. It's them. For sure. Wu stayed silent for a few seconds while staring at the bus, frowning.
Pack him up, he suddenly said, and send him to the lab. We won't find any answer here.
In less than 24 hours, Wu received a phone call from the medical examiner.
You work fast, Doc,
Wu said.
You left me no choice,
replied the examiner.
Either way, can you come to the lab right now? There's something unusual about this case.
I know, Wu said. This case is beyond weird.
When Wu arrived, the examiner was typing something on his computer. He looked tired, having worked through the night. Being glued to his screen, he didn't even notice Wu's presence. Wu coughed, and the examiner looked up. Ah, you're here. Come, he said, and gestured for Wu to approach. Care to guess what the cause of death was? The examiner asked.
Since you're putting it like that, I guess it has nothing to do with the thousands of cuts they have on their bodies,
Wu replied. The examiner chuckled wryly. Funny as always. But yeah, our exam suggests they actually died of heart attacks. The examiner looked at Wu, expecting a reaction, but Wu simply stayed silent. Well, the examiner continued, the autopsy doesn't indicate any pre-existing heart condition, so my guess is their unexpected cardiac arrest were triggered by the accident.
It's very rare, but it does happen.
Wu still didn't say anything, so the examiner added,
Basically, they were scared to death by the crash. Literally.
or by something else, Wu concluded. The examiner looked at him, cocking an eyebrow. Do you know how many fingerprints and footprints we found in the bus? Wu suddenly raised his voice. None. It's as if someone went inside the bus after it crashed, made a mess of the bodies, splashed blood everywhere and left, all while not leaving a damn trace. Hell, there weren't even fingerprints and footprints of the conductor and driver. Wu breathed in deeply. The examiner didn't speak for a few seconds. Then he said slowly,
Every now and then, you do come across one of these cases that just doesn't make sense.
Then they both fell silent. After a while, Wu suddenly asked, Actually, don't these wounds remind you of something?
Yeah,
the examiner mumbled.
Death by 1,000 cuts. I remember reading it somewhere that a princess in Ming Dynasty was executed this way.
No, an imperial concubine, Wu said. Poor thing. Her execution lasted for 5 days.